And indeed, you see me wearing my glasses because I really wanted to be clear. I'm seeing right with what is happening in the NDC. I know many of you have seen our promotion for today's conversation. And we're asking a very simple question, a question that many Ghanaians have asked. In fact, yesterday, John Mahama's representative in the meetings to try and resolve the issues that is currently bedeviling the party's ambitions and plans of holding a primary, suggested that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah simply wants to pour some sand in the party's gari. So we need to ask that question. Is that really what Dr. Kwame Nkrumah is up to? Guess who is joining us this afternoon for State of Play? It is his baptism into the family of heads, although he doesn't qualify because he hasn't got a head. But he is Kojo Braze, the man of many parts, and he joins us for a conversation. He is political through and through. So yeah, don't be surprised. Hello, Kojo.
Hi, Evans.
And by the way, Winston, the regular head, will join us on Zoom soon on this matter.
So, but on the heads thing, people say my head is big.
Oh, you too, eh?
Yeah, people say my head is
please,
big, but not too big like yours.
No. Let's ask our audience. Please, can you assess his head for me? Thank you very much, Yao. Let's assess his head. So let the audience tell us if they agree that his head qualifies him to be around the table of heads.
No.
Please don't hesitate to share with us on the links that we have.
Okay. It doesn't. Maybe I get close, but it doesn't.
Oh, but no, they're ready to be delivered at the end of the show.
Oh, but if someone doesn't like me, he will just say that my head is.
But yeah, once you're a State of Play, you don't prepare not to be liked. So prepare not to be liked. So if they tell you that your head is okay to be here, then you're fine.
That's fine.
In fact, you should be more worried if you say your head is not big enough.
Okay.
That means you can't sit around the table.
That's fine. If my head is not big like yours, that's fine.
Yeah, but like looking at you, I think I have a competition.
I'm closer.
No, but so you know the conversation around the NDC thing has been very interesting.
Yeah.
In the next 24 hours, we will get to know whether the party will go ahead or not. Although we put in a lot of plans, right? But it's looking really, really difficult for the NDC. And Dr. Kwame Nkrumah is standing his ground. Yesterday on PM Express, when his guy joined me, the Kofi Kukubo, I asked him the question. So, what would it take for you to withdraw this out of court? His answer was emphatic. Right now, it's only the court. Right now, there's nothing that could happen between now and Friday that will convince them to take this out of court. In fact, yesterday evening at 8 p.m., after the party and the reps had met the Electoral Commission, they had planned a resolution meeting at 8 p.m., right? Yesterday. They met the EC in the morning. When they left the meeting with the EC, and the EC told them that we are not going to be supervising because of the challenges you have. Go and resolve it and then come back. They then met and said, can we meet in the evening so we attempt to trash this out so this doesn't end up, go the full walk court. The Kwame Nkrumah team decided not to go for that meeting, yesterday evening meeting. Yeah. Their reasoning was, just when the times where it was taken down towards the 8 p.m. meeting, they were served with the abridgment of time that the Amaliba and Co had filed. Yeah. Okay. And it says, once we've been served, okay, then let's go and show down in court. So this is now purely a court showdown. They are going to go to court on Friday and go and slag it out. And this is where I think it's a very risky game the NDC is playing. Because if indeed everything I've heard, there's anything to go by, all the party people had made their challenges with the album or the register or whatever it is. Everybody admits that there are some issues. It isn't perfect. At least on Top Story, I was talking to a few party people who said, well, the album that they were giving was 80% complete. Once you say that, it's an admission that
there is some...
Yes.
There is an issue.
Yes, and yesterday, another thing that got me, I'm not NDC, but it got me worried for them, is what the EC told them in the meeting. And there isn't any evidence, and our sources tell us this, what happened in the meeting, that the party chairman was there, contradicted it. The EC told them in this meeting yesterday that before yesterday, the Kwame Nkrumah team had sent a petition to the Electoral Commission. Okay. In that petition, they were complaining about irregularities.
Yes.
Now, the EC told the chairman and the reps that they, the EC, as the entity that was going to be supervising the elections, have been holding several meetings with the NDC's election committee. Those several meetings produced a guideline that everybody was supposed to abide by. One of the key guidelines was that you will give all the parties this voter register 7 days before the election day. As of yesterday, right, before Camp say they have not received it. But here is the big one, and I established this in the evening also, late in the evening on PM Express. The EC's Director of Operations, the Director of Electoral Services,
Dr. Sribo,
also confirmed to me that as of yesterday, the Electoral Commission that was going to be supervising
had also not received
the register. But they need a register and yesterday they were about to dispatch materials across the country.
On which register were they going to dispatch?
Thank you very much. So that was Sribo's point, that even for them, the EC, they don't have the thing with 2 days or so to go to the thing, right? So I'm making the point that if all this is true, how do you go to court and show to the court that indeed
the point the other side is raising,
for which reason they want an injunction, is not valid?
Yeah.
Then we saw their statement yesterday, and that I thought was interesting. They claim that the actual guideline that they approved said you're not going to be giving voter register or photo album. You're going to be giving delegate list. And that as far as that is concerned, they give it to them on the 20th of April.
That's gone.
And that's gone. And that the truth is, Dufour's camp have not raised an issue with
the delegate list.
They raised an issue with the voters register or the album. Okay.
So, because mind you, you're not going to base on the delegate list for people to vote. You're going to base on the register, which will mandate delegate to vote, right?
Yeah.
And that's where they have issues.
Yeah.
So if they are looking at the register on which people are going to vote, and there are some issues with it, they will raise it. Now the delegate list is only telling them that if you go to constituency A, we have Abna, Mensah, Kojo, Appiah, and all of you as delegates, so you can contact them. So their issue is not really with the number of delegates and who they have to contact. They have issues with the booklet that will mandate someone to vote on the D-Day. So if Kojo Brace is going to vote on the D-Day, and I am in a Hunter West, and my name is found in Infantiman or Gomwa West, that's where the issues are. It's not really with the delegated. The delegated, they see it as a guidance, not really as what the Electoral Commission is going to ask people to say, okay, your name is here, so come and vote. That is where the issues are.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think really the NDC, you are seeking an out-of-court settlement with the people, isn't it? When they went to the EC, they also planned for a meeting with the whole team. Why then do you also go to court to look for an abridgment of time? That could be strategic, really, that they wanted to make sure that they are not overwhelmed by events. So let's go to court on one breath, looking for an abridgment of time so that the case can be heard before the Monday that the court wanted to hear it. Again, we also, on the other side, we want to meet them to see if we can use an ADR to settle this whole matter. But the Dufour camp also probably may be thinking that, well, if you want us to do an out-of-court settlement, why do you then also run to court? So it's a very tricky situation the party finds itself in. One, I want to do an ADR to find out if I can really get you to say that, oh, Kojo, now I don't want to go to court. Let's settle this off. But on the other hand, I also want to play it safe, such that if I don't get you to agree to the ADR, I can use the legal processes to then get you in. That's where they went for the abridgment. But the team before didn't see it that way. And that's why this situation is the way it is.
So, I mean, do you agree with Otokuno yesterday when he says that this is Dr. Konan before trying to post on an NDC Gary?
I'm not sure you can look at it on the face value and then say that, yes, this is what it is. But I've read from some, an MP, this MP, Dr. Park, who also wrote on Twitter that the delegates were going to punish Dufour for what he's done. So they're all thinking along the same line of thinking that Dufour is hurting the NDC in this. But you'd also have to agree with the man who says that your own guideline, which of course you agree to, said you're going to give me a delegate list. Yeah? The EC confirms this.
Yeah,
but in the meeting, even though you are saying, I mean, this is from our sources.
But you raise an important point that I think, for me, comes down to what the court will decide on. You see, the party claims that, so there's a technical use of words here. Actually, it's not even semantics, it's actually substantive. So, party says, it is the delegates list that we promise we'll give you and we give you. And that is the base document for the elections. Now, Kwame Nkrumah's team says, no, not the delegates list. For yesterday on PM Express, he showed me what the delegates list is. The delegates list on it has a person's name, the person's position in the party, his age, and then
polling center,
and then your party ID number.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the delegates list, and there is plenty of them, 300,000 plus. That's what the party says they agreed to give them, and that is what is written in the guideline. Now, it comes down to what is written in the guideline.
Yeah.
Right. The party yesterday, and I was asking Ambaliba, can you quote to me which specific part of the guideline said that that is a document? He didn't have it. He didn't quote it. The party issues a statement, also mentions that, but also didn't state where.
Yeah.
The Kwame Nkrumah's team say they are challenging them.
Okay.
That they've combed through the guideline. There's nothing like that.
They didn't see anything like that.
I think it will come down to that in court yesterday, tomorrow.
If
the party can go and show that all the aspirants signed up to this particular guideline, and this is what he said, and they can prove it's black and white,
then the court will...
They might have a case there.
But again, the question to ask then will be that, is that what the EC is going to use to conduct or to supervise the election, the voting day proper?
Yeah.
That when you come to the voting center, like the details you are giving us, on the ballot, or on the register that they are going to use to vote, you would see that Samuel Brace, constituency, voter ID number, my position. Is that what will be on the register that they will be using to vote on the D-Day? If that is not the case, then what becomes of the case that the NDC will build in court then? Because the Duke for camp is still on the fact that you said you will give us a delegate list and then a voters register, which we will use to vote on that Saturday. So that's the stand on which the Duke for camp is building its case. You would have to then prove that in fact that's not what we meant. And that on the D-Day, what you see is what we've given you. But it all comes down to understanding as well. Or, like you said, letting us understand that in the guidelines, everything is written in
True.
So you have to prove that in the guidelines, this is what you wrote, and this is what it means. Then the judge would have to understand that, okay, this argument you are making, based on the evidence available, I'm going with line A or line B. So it's really an interesting thing for us to look forward to. But again, it's a game of evidence, isn't it? You have to prove that you wrote that explicitly in the guidelines that you gave.
And then there are the issues with the conspiracy story. Guess who is joining us? Winston.
The biggest head.
Evans.
Winston.
Evans, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. A certain gentleman in the studio right now called Kojo.
I have to take a break and join you.
Kojo Breeze described you as the biggest head. I don't know if you have any response for that.
Oh, don't mind a hunter pili.
A hunter what?
A hunter pili.
A hunter pili.
He's in Pahomahin as well.
In Pahomahin?
In Pahomahin. He's the one the Mpho people are looking up to. He wields a lot of power in Mpho. So I call him Mpho.
Do you have Galamsey sites there?
Yes, but I'm not sure he has one.
He has one. But if you make him Mpho, he will worry you.
Oh no, but this guy doesn't like Galamsey.
Okay. Winston, is somebody pouring sand in somebody's Gary?
Oh, yeah, look, I think that this is something that, look, now he has done it. He has achieved his aim. Because whatever is going to happen tomorrow, whatever happens tomorrow, if they sit on the case and they're able to deal with it, fine. But if they are not, and today the NDC is panicking. You see, he says, I wrote to the party. Some party members have gone onto social media to say, we picked Intel, he was going to do this. So why did you help him? If you picked Intel, this is what he was going to do. Why do you help him and turn around and come and say, oh, you're allowing the government to use you? When you pick intel somebody is going to do something, make sure you shame that person by not playing into his game. Today you've seen these, register somebody with a male name, with a female picture and all of that. It doesn't augur well for the NDC. And so I think that, look, whatever happens, Dr. Dufour has really hurt the NDC. He's exposed the NDC big time when it comes to this particular election and how they've handled it. Look, who would have thought that a day to the election, 2 days to the election, we'll be having this conversation? Now, all of us are seated here. I don't even know whether whether the court will grant an injunction or not. And so our plan, we are planning, but we're also thinking about whether it would happen, whether it will come off or it will not come off. I think that Dufour's, whatever his aim was, whatever he sought to do, he's achieved it. And today, he's poured sand in NDC's Gary. He's made the whole election, things about the NDC's competence when it comes to, vote management. And that's not what you need at this point in time. But by exposing this, it actually goes a long way to confirm previous suspicions about the party, that they don't know how to organize election, they don't know how to do this, and they've gone into 2 elections. You had a chairman say they went into 2 elections without, knowing the results they gained. Now, if you run internal elections this way, how would you know the results you have? That's the first question somebody would ask you. And so, look, I think that the NDC, based on everything they've said, if they knew Dufour was going to do this and they never dealt with it, it's a big shame on the party.
Mm. Yeah. And Wednesday, so there's also that unspoken part of this, where you've had NDC executives begin now to suggest that there is some bigger ulterior motive behind this Kwame Dufour move that meets the eye. They haven't clearly said it, but when you read in between the lines, what sense are you getting?
Well, you see, Evans, a lot of things happen politically, and whatever it is, yes, there could be an ulterior motive, but also ask yourself the simple question. When you're going into a game, and we've all talked about the fact that Dr. Dufour is going to lose this election, okay? But it is the margin of loss he's looking at. If you make a case, then you're somebody that must be spoken to in the party. You get the point. If you go into it and you get 1%, everybody says, oh, come on, look at this man. Upon all the money he spent and upon all the things he talked about, that his records were good, he had only 1%. He's not popular in the party. He would want to make a case that he's popular in the party. So what you do is that you don't allow him. Look, yesterday we were talking about the NPP coming out to say that they are going to exhibit their voters register. Do you know why they are doing that? They are doing that because they want to remove all doubts about the election, Evans. Don't allow any doubts in an election. Whatever the motives are, the party says they picked Intel. So if you picked Intel, you don't allow that to happen, only for you to come back and say, we said it. So what is the essence of Intel if it is not to prevent that thing from happening? Whatever motive it is, and look, I don't have evidence to support anything. The party may have its own evidence. All I can tell you is that in every political party primaries, the main opposition party, be it party in government or party in opposition, would have an interest in that election. Let's not hide it. Did you not hear in 2015 that some NPP members had registered just to vote no against John Dramani Mahama in the NDC's presidential primaries at the time when he was doing yes or no? You heard it. That's something that would happen. Assuming it is true, it is something that would happen in politics all the time. Every party has an interest in the other party's election. So if you pick intelligence, don't let it happen. You don't let it happen, and then you come back and say that, they are doing this. Look, the Electoral Commission, and for once, when they called the meeting, the NDC quickly rushed to the Electoral Commission. Why? Because they knew that their hands were in the mouth of the Electoral Commission now. Then the Electoral Commission says, we cannot do this. You may have your own issues with it. You may have your own doubts with it. People have raised concerns.
But wait a second. On those conspiracy theories and Brace, this is where I stand on it, right? I think the executives who are now beginning to say this is malicious, there's an ulterior motive. And in fact, yesterday it was Amaliba on top who said, when this whole thing is done, we'll begin to see the true people behind this. And I was asking, what are you suggesting? And they said, well, I'll repeat that. When we'll see the true people. There is a suggestion that they are not saying. But let me guess what some of the NDCs are thinking. The government is still prosecuting
Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
Yeah. Okay. I get a sense, right, that all these suggestions that they are putting out there without saying it, they are possibly trying to suggest that Kwame Nkrumah is not his own man, and this whole thing he's doing.
So somebody's holding his boss on one hand
to try and pour sand in their gari, because that expression was used by Otokuno yesterday in the evening. That this sand in their gari, to pour sand in their gari for the benefit of some other third-party entity.
Evans.
Yes, Wesley.
Evans, look. And let's assume that is true. Are you surprised? Would you be surprised?
So you are not surprised if that's the case?
No. I said, let's assume it's true. I am saying that you don't have to be surprised, because political parties are such that they always will try to infiltrate your camp. You say you picked intelligence, okay? And look, this whole attitude of don't mind them, it is not always that don't mind them works in politics. There are times you have to go and say, you know what, guys, let's do it this way. I don't have any facts to suggest that. Yes, he's being prosecuted and all of that, but he's still contesting the election. I mean, look, Opuni has been in court for the past 6 years. A judge comes in and says, let's start the case afresh. It may go into the next election. Attorney General says, I'm going to, appeal that. My point simply is that today we may not have evidence to say before it's been supported by the NDC. But let's even admit it's been supported by the NDC. Is the NDC saying they never knew this? Because all of a sudden, they're talking about how they suspected this to happen. So if you knew, why did you not work? And why did you not? So, for instance, everything he asked for, you gave him. He asked for this, you give him. You asked for this, you give him. Now, Dufo cannot come and say, I am being unfairly treated. Because the thing also is that everybody knows Mahama is going to win this election. And so if he comes out with these issues, for instance, you ask the question, who has something to hide and who is trying all means possible to make it difficult for this man? If that, based on what he said, I still repeat my earlier position. Today, the NDC could have prevented all of this based on what they are telling us to do, because they may have had the intelligence. And look, Evans, as we sit here and we speak and we talk, look, this is a man, Dr. Dufo, who's been, who's supported the NDC financially for years.
Yeah, you don't rise to become their finance minister for nothing.
Yes. You think all of a sudden he wants to throw away everything? Is the NDC willing to tell the people, for instance, some of the negotiations they have been in concerning even his own bank as a party? You think that, there's a man who's just sitting there and just wants to destroy everything, even the party is working for him? Well, a lot of things would come, but let's see what the court would say.
But we need to ask a question. Is it not true that there are issues with the register that
I think that they're clearly there.
So if there are issues, why then do you want to say that the man is not a man of himself, and that because someone is holding his boss somewhere, the person is pushing him to do what he's doing? The fact is that the man has presented issues with the register. That's what you need to deal with. If there were no issues, then you could have said that the man is trying to use every other means to pour sand in your gari. But this one, you have created the avenue for the man to pour the sand in your gari.
So this is the argument. They say, if your real intention is to resolve the issues, then yesterday evening you would have come to the meeting at 8 p.m. 2 days ago. So yesterday, John Mahama's camp said that outstanding part of the album has now been made available to them, right? Instantly, Kukubo said, but that shows bias because we have not been called. Right? We have, so I guess it buttresses your point.
Exactly.
That we have not been called, but John Mahama. So I asked Okuno, were you called? He said, oh no, but the last meeting we held that Kukubo was there. They told us all that it was going to be ready at a certain date. So we just had to wait.
Evans, if you remember, was it on Tuesday? Yeah, I think it was on Tuesday when we were speaking to Bande. He said that the last part of the register will be made available to that. Was it yesterday or today? He mentioned a day, I've forgotten. But the thing is that the one that you provided to them, that's what the man is saying, that with what you've given me, there are issues with that register, and I want you to resolve it. According to them, they gave them a certain date to resolve it. And according to the party, they met the DUFOR team to discuss how to resolve it. But I think the DUFOR team were not too satisfied with the responses coming from the party.
Yes.
And so for them to really get what they desire, they thought that, well, is a court that would settle this for us. So let's go to court and compel the party to do the right thing. So really, if the party had not created a conducive atmosphere, DUFOR would not have come in to say that I have issues with this, for you to then impugn that this man is, because he's being prosecuted in court, he's been asked to do this job against the party.
No, so your point is in that sense that the NDC pours sand in their own guy.
Yeah, exactly. You did it.
They post on their own, Gary.
Yeah.
Let's read a few of your comments on this matter. Susubiribi, no, this is a medium head. So your head is medium. He said his haters told him a lie. So you are not qualified.
Okay,
your head is
I'm
hidden.
not, yeah.
Freda Champon is just laughing.
Yeah.
Edward says his head is big, but Evans, yours is headmaster. Well, I accept. Because I'm the headmaster.
Yeah.
I have the powers and the autocratic powers to declare you your head is don't qualify to sit on the table. Mensah says, Edward, yes, thank you very much. I accept that. That is actually a compliment. Mensah says, Evans, please, delegates list is the one that will be used for the voting on Saturday and not a photo album. And yesterday, Otokuno and
Kukubo.
Well, no, Otokuno and Amaliba said the same thing.
Okay.
That is the delegates list that will be used. Otokuno actually said that he contested and lost it, in that party executive position, contest.
General secretary
position.
Yeah.
He says in the parties that's what they've used.
Okay.
So he made a point that the delegates list, it is their voters register.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
That's the voters register. But then Kukubo's point is that, because he also brought a photo album, right? If that is the case, why have you spent money to generate the photo album? Right? Because the photo album is more thorough, because that comes with a picture, you can verify.
So that you can see that if this is Kojo Brace.
Exactly.
There he is.
So that's another one that needs to be resolved. Kwame Malcolm, today on my show on Radio 360, a senior programs manager of CDD Ghana, Kwabena Brampa, says, persons vilifying Dr. Dufour for resorting to court lack a good appreciation of democracy. And true, of course. I mean, this is why we go. But the thing about it is, and that's we used to address that, political parties in Ghana have adopted this very antagonistic approach to party
intra-party democracy.
In fact, the antagonistic approach to individuals in the party who take issues that remain unresolved to the court. Once you do that, they almost then begin to, shun you and ostracize you from the party, to the point where some parties actually go to the extent of making it almost illegal, an abomination, to sue your own party. But at this point, that if indeed Abraham made a point, it is true that that is what democracy is all about.
We have adopted democracy.
But I also must agree, though, to the point that often you must exhaust
the internal structures,
processes. You have to go back to the point where you are
a member of a party. So you have to exhaust all the
internal processes
before you go out.
Prince says, don't confuse our listeners. Your listeners is the delegates list that they will rely on to vote, not a photo album. We just said that, Prince. Prince, Samuel Afo, NDC will lose the court case. Well, we'll see. Bra Harry, good job, great, my friend, for me watching from Takrade. This is Bra Harry.
Okay, Harry. Okay.
You know him?
Yeah.
You know Harry?
Yeah.
Oh, you know Harry? Okay. The good job, great, my friend, for we are watching from Takrade. Tade people. Yeah, man.
West side.
Yeah, West side.
Yes, that's what it is.
Mad singing. We have to bring him back more so that we can get Tade people to watch more. Akumbagan says, Idrisi says, Dr. Dufour should have been disqualified, you see? Kwame Dre, NDC should just do the right thing. We still know Dufour will lose, but we need the right things to be done.
No, but Evans, you cannot disqualify him when the conditions that should be available for you to disqualify someone is not there.
Well, that is the thing. Yeah. That is the thing. And me, I've said, and I'll repeat it. The fight that the NDCs having between Dufour and the party, it's not because Dufour knows he will win the elections. Everybody knows he's not going to win the elections. It's about how many votes he's going to take from John Mahama. John Mahama needs an emphatic victory. He needs this
They've quoted around 99%.
Yeah, they want 99, almost 100%. They need something like that to solidify his control over the party. Not only that, but to show to everybody else in the party and beyond that he is the alpha and the omega. He needs that. But remember that anytime NDC and NPP have gone to polls, both parties they will bring their 5 million votes constant to the table. Then the rest will decide elections. That 5 million that he is guaranteed in elections, those people need to be galvanized. That part of the galvanizing effect is if he can show that among the 300,000 plus delegates, he's overwhelming.
But Evans,
so he needs that.
Something we've also not pointed out. It doesn't all look like it's the Attah Mills versus Mahama thing this time around. Can't we? Because if you look at those who are following Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, it looks like these are the Attah Mills true and true guys who are following Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. So when I sit back and I look at it, it looks to me there is a contest between the Attah Mills and the
you're right. There's a lot of the elements who are following them. I mean, do that. You could see that play out in this. And I've seen that Kojo Ainoho, for example, has been tweeting a lot to support Dufo. He's been so you're right.
He's there with Solomon Kansa, Kukubo. Kukubo was a great guy under Mills' time. He's there with this retired army officer, Bwachi Jan. Bwachi Jan is also there, and there are a lot of people who were very influential during that Tamil's time. So it looks as though so probably we should quote. Is it that Tamil's pouring sand into John Mohammed's Gary? Maybe it's something.
Okay. Citizen Boating, his head doesn't come close. Evans and Wasting are far ahead. You've met your meter.
Yeah, it's good.
You've met your meter.
So now if my wife tells me my head is big, I know what to say.
Yeah, you should know
I said that he should point to Evans and
Abdullah said, this program should be televised live on Joy News, please. It's so interesting and kindly consider this. Yeah, we are considering it very strongly. Erica J. Yao says, I agree with Winston on all fronts. Ejakwisi Kanga, Evans, I have been the director of elections for the past 14 years for the Prisia Huni Valley constituency for the NDC. We always use the delegates list, something that both all the party executives have been saying. So really, if that's the case, did you write it into
in that guideline? Document, so that when anything comes up, we can use document to prove that this is there. And again, the question from Kukubo is also straight there, that if indeed you're going to use that list, why spend money to then bring up the photo album? Or was the photo album a complementary to the delegate list? Such that when you come, we compare the delegate list and look at the photo album and say, okay, the name is Kojo Brace. From the photo album, yes, indeed, it is him. Go. Maybe some better things you can do for us.
The court will decide tomorrow. So now all the plans that we've done, all the promos we've done, everybody's waiting. We have an interest, but now we have an interest in the outcome of that.
In the outcome of the Sokins. Whether the Sokins will be eating proper this weekend, or we'll have to hold.
We have an interest in that matter. Enjoy the rest of your evening, people.